Alright, we're going to clean the Keltec P3AT. So the first thing we've got to do is we're going to check it. Nothing in the magazine, well, and then nothing in the chamber. So we've got a unloaded gun. We're going to pull on this pin. I'm going to actually start it with this with my fingernail, this pin right here. I'm going to put my fingernail behind it and get it started. Then I'm going to put a little tension right here. I'm going to take my little tool. Again, this is a clay maker's carving tool. And then I'm just going to take and I'm going to pop that pin out just like that. Pull that out, set it to the side. Pull the slide off, set the frame down. The rod spring we're going to push forward, pull out, hold on to it. It is a free spring. It can pop out. You might end up losing it. And then the barrel forward, up, and out. And it's ready to be cleaned. So I'm going to set all of this to the side to clean. Gonna get my bucket. Alright, so there's a few things that I use within my bucket. My toothbrush, make sure you have a toothbrush on hand. And then you're going to want to have, of course, your cleaning rod. And then you're going to want the correct brush on here. Now I use nylon. I use the Tipton nylon brushes. I just bought a set. You can get them online. Some of your local mom and pops may carry them. Mine do not, however. So now we're going to go in here. We're going to grab it says 35 or 9, so that's 0.35 basically, or your 9mm, and the 380 and the 9mm are the same diameter. So if you just have a 9mm, use that one because the 380 and the 9 are the same diameter. And then you go up to your the next one on this one is 375, so you'd also use this for your 357 and your 38 special, because the 357 and 38 special is 357, the 9 and 380 are 0.355. So this would go for all of those. And then I'm going to screw this one in, so I've got it ready when I need it. Alright, now this one is the floating barrel, so actually I'm going to go ahead and clean the barrel first. We're going to take our hops number 9, going to unscrew the top. Gonna sit it down in here. Alright, now we're gonna take our brush, got the barrel, swish it around under in there. You don't need a whole lot of excess on it. Hold on to the barrel, push it through, pull it back out. I'm gonna swish it again. Now taking it and swishing it down in there does a couple things. It gets more of course on your brush, but it also releases any dirt that come on there, and it will just float down to the bottom of your bottle. So that way you've got a clean brush. You're not sending old stuff back through it. So now that's about all I need. I'm going to set my brush to the side. I'm going to go ahead and put the cap back on here because I don't want to spill it. Now this is a very large bottle. For any of you looking at this and say this is like the only gun you've got is your carry gun, you don't need one this big. One that's half this big will last you probably a lifetime. It does not take a whole lot. Alright, now we're going to send a bore snake through here. And let me grab my bore snake real quick. Alright, got my bore snake. This bore snake as well, this is for the 9, 380, 357, 38 special. And it says they will have the number stamped in on your brass end. Not sure how well you can see that, but that says 38. And this covers all of them. Alright, so basically we're going to take our little brass end, send it through the barrel. We're going to grab and pull. Now most of your bore snakes are going to have your little brass brushes in them, and that's fine. Brass is good to use, and I use the nylon brushes to clean with. However, brass is fine. I just prefer the nylon ones. I can get a little rougher if I need to, if I feel it. If you're just doing a standard every month cleaning with your handgun, you shouldn't ever have to get rough at all. But some of the handguns, I've got a couple that I'm trying to see how long they'll last without cleaning them, and I know I'm going to have to get real rough on those. And I've done those with more than one firearm before. Do not do that with your daily carry though. Clean your daily carry. You want to keep it nice and clean. Alright, this barrel is nice. Let's see if we can get a good, how can we get this? See how shiny that is down in there? Nice and shiny. Alright, this is clean. So set it to the side. Now we're going to go over here to the slide. And I'm going to take my gun scrubber. Alright, I use birchwood casing. There's a lot of different stuff you can use. This is just what I've got on hand right now. Just kind of get it wet for now. Then we take our toothbrush and we loosen all the other dirt. This one wasn't extremely dirty. You can tell on this one where they carry it. They've got a clip instead of a holster on this one, and you can tell because it's getting some surface rust on it. There's not a whole lot I'm going to do with just cleaning it. I would have to get aggressive with it, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just cleaning this firearm. But I will, actually I'll probably do a separate video on how to wax this gun, because I'll put a little bit of wax on there so it will help protect that finish a little bit better. Alright, that come pretty clean. So we're going to go ahead and spray it. Again, get down in your frying pan hole. Alright, so you probably couldn't see that on camera, but when I was spraying this out, I could see a lot of dirty chemicals coming off, kind of like you know, like dirty water basically, and it was dripping off, and then it went clear. As soon as it went clear, you know that this is cleaned out. Now I am going to go ahead and spray it from the back as well, right here down your fire pin hole. Alright, it's dirty, and it's clean. The same thing, it started dripping off the end, and it was dirty, like dirty water dripping off, and then it was clear. So then I know at that point that that is clean. And this is a fast drying, but however, I do still take my rag and I will wipe, especially like the outside of your slide here. You wipe it down, basically you're helping clean the outside. And if you see what I'm showing you right there, see that little bit of surface rust right in here? It's not going to hurt the gun. You know, it's not you know, in any bad shape there you can't shoot it. It's not hurting the function of the gun. It's just a little bit of surface rust. Now what you could do, if you have this on your gun, you can take you some oil and some 4-0 steel wool, and then you can basically sand, and all this will sand out. And then you could put a wax on it. And I will show you a wax. I'll do that in a separate video. I will wax this gun in a separate video so it's not so long. And you can just pop over that video and watch how I wax it. I'll do that. I'll post it right after I post this one. Alright, so that's clean. Alright, now the frame. There's not much to these guns, the P3ATs down in the frame. I am going to spray it. Again, we're going to get it a little bit wet, just a little bit here. Again, we get it wet and then we use the toothbrush to basically save product. Because this product is, you know, you have to buy it, and elbow grease is free. So we're going to get down in there the best we can with this. Alright, now I'm going to spray it off. And I'm watching as it's dripping down here. I'm watching to see the color of the chemical coming off. If it's dirty, I keep spraying. If it's clear, I stop spraying. That's kind of how you tell when stuff's clean. Alright, she's good and clean. Now you're going to have to let this drip off a little bit more, but we're going to wipe the rest of it down. Get in here, get in your trigger guard, get all this clean, because you're going to have dust, lint from carrying it. You're going to get a lot of lint. If you're new to concealed carry and haven't done it, you're going to get a lot of lint down in there. Alright, the rest of it will just dry out. Now I'm going to send it over here. Alright, so it's set upside down, and that's a good way to allow it to dry. this rod and spring comes apart, so I'm actually going to take it apart, and I'm just going to take my rag and I'm going to wipe it off. I'm not even going to spray it, I'm just going to wipe it. I'm going to check it to make sure it doesn't look like it's damaged or anything. And it's not bad. It's got a little flat spot right here, but that's not bad. It's still usable, no big deal. My springs look good. I don't even need to clean them. And this is an older gun and it's still in good shape, because they haven't. I know this is an older gun because this is one that I used to own. This actually is my old gun from 20 plus years ago. I ended up selling it to my brother. He wanted a concealed carry. He's not big into guns. However, he did want something to conceal carry, something small at the time. That's what I had on hand, so I sold it to him. He's been carrying it ever since, and that's been many years ago in itself. Alright, so we're getting a little bit more rust down in here, which needs some attention paid to it, and I will tell him about that, that he needs to get down in there. And again, take you some steel wool, oil it, take some steel wool and get that out, and it will come right out. Alright, so now we're going to lube it. Now this part right here, the only thing that I'm going to use some oil on, this is the FMO 350 AW lubricate. Alright, let's see. I'm going to spray, this is the extractor rod right here, so I'm going to spray right down in here where there's going to be movement. I'm going to try to get it behind there. I'm also going to spray it from this side. I'm going to hit both sides. Alright, I'm going to try to let it work its way down. Now it will, this stuff is actually made for the food industry, so it will actually work its way down in there. That's what it's made to do. They designed that oil because they can't pull when the machines have the food in them and making the food, they can't pull, you know, like the covers and stuff off, but they can have little spots that they can spray oil down in. So that's what they would do, is they would take the oil, and they made this oil and they can spray it and it will work its way around stuff. There's an actual name for that. I can't remember what the name is for it. If any of y'all know, let me know down in the comments what the name is for it. I'm just not thinking of it right off the top of my head. Alright, so we're putting grease on any of this stuff that basically moves around or slides back and forth on the frame, because the frame and the slide here will, you know, they rub against each other while they're operating. So anything that it rubs against, down here where the frame and slide meet, these little grooves down in here, this is why I use one of these little things. I bought these at Hobby Lobby. They're in the painter section. There's a pack of 10 or 20 for $3 or $4. It's a little nylon type Q-tip thing, and painters use for some type of painting. I'm not an artist, so I don't know what the name of them are. I saw them one time. I was looking at some stuff with my wife, not even sure what we were looking at. We ended up down that aisle and I said, oh, that would work perfectly. Grabbed a pack, and that's what I use from now. I've been using that for years to do this, because it works perfectly. Alright, I'm going to spread a lot of this around. I got a little too much down in there, so I'm going to spread it out. Get some grease. I'm not going to, again, it's highly debated whether you lube the firing pin or not. I don't. That's up to you. If you clean it out all the time, or every time you shoot it, I don't think there's a big deal with it. I'm going to get some of that oil. I don't know if you can see that oil that I sprayed right there. The excess I'm going to get off. We don't want a big oily nasty gun. So any of that excess right there. Now I'm going to put a little bit of grease on my rails right in here. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to move over to this one. I'm going to spray some Let me make sure I'm not grabbing my cleaner and I'm grabbing my lubricating. And we're going to spray. Alright, so there's working mechanisms all right down in here, so I'm going to spray just a touch where I can see that it actually operates. And basically you hear it spurting out. The next one, if it's a flat surface, you don't even have to spray it, you can just rub it on it. Alright, so you got your springs and stuff down in there, look at that. Alright, so we just finished, I sprayed down in here, and we are going to grease it. Alright, again, we're going to get down in the grooves here with the grease. And you just want to lightly coat. You don't want this grease built up. You just want it to look basically like an oil. But the grease, for me, I like the grease because it sticks better than the oil. Now there's a lot of different oils out there, and there's some companies that use the thicker oils that will actually stick. I know a lot of people use oil only, basic oil. But what I run into when I would just do that is the oil didn't stick, so it would actually run off or dissipate or whatever you want to call it quickly. It wouldn't last as long. And the grease and the oil mixture, so I'm putting grease on the hard sliding parts and then the oil down on the moving mechanisms, it lasts a lot longer for me. Now it's up to you. You don't have to use grease. I'm not at all saying you have to use grease. I'm just saying what has worked for me for the past however many years I've been doing this, and that's been quite a few years. Just a little bit on my finger. I'll rub it down in here. Alright, now that is pretty good. I'm going to get down in here. Alright, so now your trigger, you see the little trigger ball right down in here. It's just the top of the trigger, it looks like a little ball. Alright, I'm going to let that work its way down in there, and then any excess that runs down, we'll clean that out. Alright, I'm going to set that one to the side. I'm going to bring back the barrel. We don't oil the inside of the barrel, but I got a little dab. Put a little bit of grease on the barrel. Again, that little bit of grease is going to go a long way. And in fact, I'm going to rub the excess off with my clean hand over here. Make sure your feed ramp is nice and polished. We look good right there. That looks great. Get this. I don't want any on my feed ramp. Alright. Now let's put her back together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check it, make sure there's not any excess on the outside. I'm going to take the barrel on the, put it down in the barrel hole, click. Alright, I got to put the, now the rod, you do want, and I mean a touch of grease. It doesn't need much. I just put one little touch of grease on there. Wipe my finger back off. Send this through. Now when if you saw, I don't know if you saw that, but the spring was sticking out kind of like that. So you're going to make sure that those are flush. Just push them together. Alright, now we're going to put it down in that groove. We're going to send the free end basically toward the front. Push it and wiggle it. Alright, we got that down in the groove. We're gonna, the pin goes in between this part. We're gonna put this back in. So we're gonna line it up with the grooves. And right here, we're gonna put that in. We're gonna push it back. Now if it doesn't slide all the way back, you may have to push your spring up a little bit, or you may have to kind of seat your barrel a little bit better. But it should slide back pretty freely. Alright, so I'm lined up. I can actually see, let's see. See where that hole's lining up right there? So I know I'm lined up there. So I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Now I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to put it in here now, but I'm going to go kind of at an angle. I'm not going to go straight in. I'm going to go to angle because you got this little flat spring right there. I'm going to actually pull down on that flat spring, then I'm going to seat it. And we are good to go. So this thing's ready to load up and go do some shooting.